Welcome to vampires and ghouls and goblins of the internet. I'm Anya, your demon cinephile. Keep putting these off, and then when I try to do them, something else pops up. Just a bunch of things. I'm just I don't get to really talk about the vampires as much as I really want to. But I'm here, so we're gonna talk about episode 4 real quick. Episode 4, I want you more than anything in the world. Now, first off, I really want to say I love the baby Lulu play. It feels like a lost Disney cartoon, something that's really sweet and whimsical, but also very dark and ghoulish. And it makes me realize that I really wish we got more small musical segments throughout the season. Like, as soon as they get into the Paris, like, we get this small little musical part just to kind of stops the episode. Just like for like 3 to 4 minutes. I don't know. I love musicals, and I think that'd be really cool. I really love the play though. It's really really cool and ghoulish. It does really show Claudia's emotions, how trapped she feels, how she's forced to play this role that she's always has to play, but now she has to play it for everyone else in the world. Claudia has understandably lost all interest in the play, saying how it reinforces everything that she's always had to deal with in her undead life. The funny thing though, while Armand doesn't seem to care, the other Coven members seem to. They look sorrowful as she explains herself while she's saying like, oh, I don't like this. I'm a fierce vampire trapped in the body of a little girl. And they all seem kind of nice. Now I feel sorry for their little new sister. This trails to Santiago and a couple of the members asking why Louis is so special. Why can he still be a nomad? Why can Louis mingle with humans and not partake in special rituals? And speaking of rituals, one of the female vampires, I think it's Celeste, brings up why Louis doesn't partake in Blood Sabbath, or no, that he reads during Blood Sabbath. What is the Blood Sabbath? I didn't understand this one. I thought Lestat destroyed the satanic cult. So why are they still practicing the religious rituals? Isn't this a secular coven? When Santiago puts them on the spot asking, are they companions? Basically asking, are they boyfriends? Are they lovers? Louis just says, no. Well, Armand's like, yes we are. And kind of puts them in this weird little thing. Cause they seem happy and comfortable with each other. They've been together for about like over a year now. But Louis isn't really, like, he's not ready to settle down, I think. Especially when Armand says, I love you, the fake Lestat just, in Louis' mind, just laughs at it like, like, oh. So, Louis doesn't really fully trust Armand, or at least he doesn't want to trust himself fully to Armand. We get the line from the trailer, which I love, like, are you schizophrenic, Louis? I don't know why that line just, it's so funny. Louis states that he isn't nor wasn't schizophrenic, that vampires can't develop it, just like in the books, but he does say he could feel fake Lestat to an extent. He could feel the air move around him. There was some type of physical. Now Armand says he didn't know how real the hallucination was. It kind of blows it off, but when you watch him, he watches Louis, it describes how Lestat was so real to him. You can tell he is completely bothered. Like, he is fuming inside. Oh, Armand, still jealous of your ex nearly 100 years later. Daniel gets a little too comfortable in the interview and brings up the fire, saying that because he got those articles from that Talamasca agent, and this pisses Armand right off. And he starts triggering these more memories from the first interview. Well, I'll bring those up in the next review because I watched that episode. But I do like how every time Daniel starts getting a little too comfortable, Armand just looks at him like, oh, are you sure you want to do this? And Louis is acting a little confused, like he doesn't really know about the fire. Or maybe he's just put out place because Daniel mentioned it too early. I'm not really sure about that one. We get a nice little moment between Claudia and Santiago. They seem to be bonding more and more, bonding over the rule breaking, Claudia's diaries in his blabbermouth. Still, this is a bit big but interesting change from the book. Novel Claudia hated the troupe on the first night they went to the theater, never wanted to see them again. Here though, their relationship is rocky, but I truly believe her and Santiago could have been good pals. It wasn't for Louis and Armand. We meet Madeline again. Her and Claudia have a fun back and forth. It's great to have her back in the show. They did say she went to the shows, the plays, and was watching Claudia. I don't know, maybe it'd been cool before this episode to actually see her in the background of the plays. I don't know. Maybe she was there and I just didn't notice it in the other episodes. That'd been cool. Cool thing to go back and look over. We get the coven chilling out in this nice restaurant, glasses of wine all spread about, which is confusing me more and more if the vampires in the show can eat and drink things besides blood. Because didn't Sam Reed in an interview say that Lestat doesn't really eat or drink food, he just pretends to, but here we can see them kind of doing that. Also, didn't Louis say most human food tastes like paste and soap in season 1? Whatever. They're having a fun time. The playwright and the other member, I'm not sure what he does, they're blabbermouthing about other, their wrongdoings to Armand. With Estelle was saying that one of the other members got drunk one night and started screaming, "I am a vampire, I'm a vampire," which is, I think, a reference to that Nick Cage movie that I still need to see. Louis is nerding out about the new pictures, his new pictures he's taking, about how he is I'm still in love with all the art of Paris and wants to experience it more, how it's so avant-garde, so amazing. And this is just pissing Santiago off. He's acting like he thinks Louis is just a pretentious little prick. He started mimicking Louis. Now this is kind of like in the books, but like in the book when Santiago did this, it was more like a mime act. He was mimicking Louis' movements, but now he's actually mimicking like his voice, like he's speaking as him. Then as this scene goes a little bit longer, we hear less of Santiago and more of Louis' voice coming out of his mouth. And it's a really cool trick, very unnerving. I really do like that. Now this is something I don't think vampires can do in the books, but surprisingly enough, there, what's his name? Bill from True Blood could do this. So, I don't know. I don't think this is ripping off True Blood. I'm not trying to say that, but I thought it was a nice little comparison. Santiago's like, "You don't sound like you're from Chicago. You have a little French in you. How about you say New Orleans?" And I love this. Louis calls him a buffoon, just like in the book, and zooms over to Santiago and grabs his tongue and starts going like, "Yo, buffoon? Come on, buffoon, speak up, speak up." And then you see that shot in one of the trailers where Armand uses a combo move. He freezes the time for the humans, but uses like his mind gift to make all the vampires besides Louis and Santiago fall asleep. So I guess Armand is just that strong and he can use both these powers at once. Also, it does kind of answer my question I had earlier, that when a vampire uses the time gift, I'm guessing that's what we're gonna call it now, he can only freeze humans in the world but not the vampires. So I guess that explains why Armand had to freeze all the other vampires, because he can't freeze them, like, you can't stop time for them. Okay, Louis meets up with his art dealer who tells Louis his pictures basically suck and he doesn't have an artistic eye, or if he does, is basically non-existent. Now, for someone who was in photography for a literal season of high school, I can sort of feel Louis' frustration, especially when you can only take pictures in the dark. And I actually like Daniel's response to the photos. I think this is the first genuine compliment he gives Louis for the whole show. But this gets weird when Louis sees photos mixed in with the batch that aren't his. Louis is freaking out, asking Armand, "Why did you put these here? You're making me look stupid." And Armand's like, "Oh, it was just a staff. Oh, this is just a staff. Calm down, love." And this is causing Daniel to have more flashbacks. And I just love Louis' I just love Louis' reaction. He is so upset and so offended that you would mix his, what he describes amateurish artwork, photography, with all these beautiful pictures of art. Like Armand's trying to make him look better than what he really is. That he's trying to protect his feelings. We get this nice little part where Louis is going through his photo. He's setting him on fire with the fire gift, which we do see him practicing earlier in the episode, which is kind of sad because I assume Louis only got the fire gift in the modern times, but we do see it's very weak here. It's not as strong as it was when he used it in season 1, but still, I'm not sure why giving Louis that power so early. I mean, it is Louis, it makes sense. The man is a bit of a pyromaniac. He uses fire to settle all his problems. But I don't know, still, just that one little thing. But if he uses the fire, okay, he's probably gonna use his mediocre fire gift to set the theater ablaze. It has to happen. Please let that happen. Okay, I may not like it, but that'd be an awesome payoff. But yeah, so Armand breaks into this museum with Louis, and as a little date night, he frees all the guards, and Louis is like, "Yeah, you're kind of acting like Lestat. You use all your power one moment, then do this grand gesture of apology," and you got his fake Lestat in his mind, like, "Yeah, that's just like me." And Armand is like, "I don't like using my powers like that." When Louis asks him who he really is, we get Armand's backstory. Now, this is actually pretty close to the books, except for some details. In the books, Armand was from Ukraine, or what will become Ukraine. He was captured by soldiers while he was, well, in the show, he is from India, Delhi, I think they said specifically. And instead of being captured by soldiers, his parents actually sold him into slavery. In the books, while he did stay in a brothel for a time, nothing really happened to him. But in the show, it seems like he was forced to be, I guess you guess, off-board use a sex slave. Well, in the books, that didn't really happen. Marius saved him before any of that could happen to our young lad. Now, one thing I really hope is just a lie Armand is telling, or a misunderstanding, is when Armand says that Marius would donate him when a friend would visit. Basically saying that because Armand basically got a lot of skills working in the brothel, that Marius, whenever a friend or somebody important, I guess, would come to the Frisco, or I forgot what the proper name for Marius' house would be, he would donate him to that friend as this is basically prostitution. Now, Marius would never have done a thing like this. I mean, Marius has done a lot of weird things in his day, but I can't see him doing this to Armand. I mean, I mean, no, because Armand and Marius do have a weird relationship. It's a mixture between student and teacher and father and son, a bit of a lovers into there as well. But no, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like something Marius would do. I do hope they explain that this was a misunderstanding on Armand's part, or just another lie he's telling. And another thing is he says he was turned after he got ill. Now, while this is kind of book accurate, it wasn't so simple. Armand, he had this weird, crazy ex-lover, this dude who, when Armand rejected him, he broke into Marius's house, killed not all, but a good chunk of all the other boys Marius had adopted. And then when he stabs Armand, he explains that, oh, my sword was poisoned, so you're going to die too, even though you just killed me, or something weird like that. Yeah, they don't go into all of that. I do hope they will when Armand's backstory gets fully told. But once again, hoping it's a mini-series or a cool movie. That'd be really neat. Claudia and Madeline bond. She talks about the swastika in her glass. She invited a German boy to stay with her for a time and got branded as a Nazi sympathizer. We do get this cool, while they're talking, we do see them making the yellow dress. Claudia's infamous yellow dress. For all the book fans know that the end is near. But also, I really do like this characterization of Madeline. Because in the book, she didn't really have that much of a personality. Here though, she's really, she's nice, she's sympathetic, she's a little bit rough on the edges. And I love the advice she gives to Claudia to tell her to go out and explore, and go and check things. Like, who cares if you fumble, you'll get right back up. And I do like the little bonding they're going with. I do like it. I do like the chemistry between the two actors. And this is all ruined when Armand shows up at the dress shop and pulls Claudia out. And they get this huge fight, saying, like, why can't you just do Baby Lou? I hate it. It's only 15 minutes. 15 minutes of embarrassment and ridicule and blah blah blah. And Armand just gets sick of it and grabs Claudia by the throat and threatens her, like, if anyone was in my position, they would do you no better than you did your maker. And the fear, the intensity, the weird eyes on Armand and Claudia, it sells it. I love it. I love the Delaney in this episode. I mean, I loved her all season, but I really think in this episode, something was, I don't know if it's because of the Baby Lulu stuff, her and Madeline, or the upcoming scene. I just really particularly loved her in this episode. And after getting threatened by Armand, Claudia runs to Louis asking how long he has known, and what happened to you, me and you and me. I don't know, I love both these characters, but they are both acting foolish here. Louis is completely right. She left him. She wanted to be a part of the coven. She didn't want to be a part of their little duo anymore. He realizes Claudia might never be happy wherever she goes, or she might miss out if she leaves too soon. I mean, she was not happy in America, so they left. She wasn't happy in Romania, so they left. A vampire homeland, and she's still unhappy. So, as much as Louis loves her, I can't understand why he is getting sick of it. But she's also right, because love makes him stupid. When Louis is in love, he cannot think straight about any little thing. All the red signs all the red flags with Lestat, he just ignored them. When they actually had the chance to kill Lestat, he said no. He threatened Claudia. He couldn't let Lestat truly be killed. He had to have him alive in some way. Love does make him stupid. because he didn't even ask to see the memory of it happening. I mean, all Louis had to do was peek into Claudia's head and he could see what Armand did. Heck, Claudia even forced the memory into his mind, I think. And they could easily solve this, but it didn't happen like that. And I love fake Lestat, which is technically Louis' subconscious saying, "The wilderness that is our daughter." Which, yeah, Louis does call Claudia his sister because that is their little dynamic, this weird relationship that is kind of a mixture between parent and sibling. But Louis still sees himself as her father. Like, that, yeah, he calls her sister in a scene, but he still has those fatherly love, those fatherly instincts with Claudia. And he's like, I gotta let her go. She has to grow up on her own. At least that's how I kind of see it. Louis goes to a park bench telling fake Lestat that he's breaking up with Armand. But this is actually his breakup with Lestat. The breakup he didn't get. How he will want things to go rather than they turn out to be. And I love the effect of fake Lestat not actually getting wet until Louis puts the umbrella away and Lestat is melting away like paint or wax. And I do love the comparisons to this season, because they wanted Lestat in here some way, so they have Louis hallucinate him. And it really does feel like Bella from Twilight. But just done so amazingly well done and better. Now that Louis has let go of Lestat, he's ready to fully commit to Armand. And I like Louis' plan is basically let Santiago show how much of a fool he is and let everyone beg to have Armand be Coven leader. So telling him like, give him a charge, give him a bit of power, let him fumble, let him fall. Also, I really think was cool was that Louis kind of wants to be the manager of the theater, which does make sense because Louis was a successful pimp. He was a successful businessman back in New Orleans, so we can actually see a little bit of the side of Louis coming back out. Maybe we get all sides of Louis in the show, but we actually get to see his more tougher exterior that we haven't really seen since the first early episodes of season 1 come out, when he is talking to Armand right here. Basically, because also Louis is kind of establishing himself as the more dominant one in the relationship by addressing Armand by his birth name, Arlun, and Armand calling him Metra, which you can see this back in season 1 and in the current day scenes, where Louis does seem to be the one mostly in control, that he is the more dominant one in the relationship. And you can kind of see that kind of brewing throughout this episode, where he is condescending to Armand, at least not directly, is more with his subconscious with fake Lestat. And you can see that Louis wants to be the one in charge. He was the more submissive partner in his relationship with Lestat. Here he wants to be the master. And as this is going down, Santiago breaks into Louis' apartment and steals Claudia's diaries. Probably going to use them for his bid to take over the Coven. Or maybe a certain blonde vampire is already in Paris. And I just want to know who's telling the scene, because all of the scenes in the flashbacks I assume is Armand and Louis speaking about what's happening. So how do they know that Santiago perfectly break into their apartment and steal the diaries? I don't know, it's a cool scene, but I think it'd be a little bit neater if... That's a word, that's not a word, is it? Who cares? I think it'd be actually a little more better if we just have Louis noticing that the diaries are gone and some of his stuff has been messed with. I think that'd been a little bit more interesting, more frightening. I mean, you probably all know Santiago was the one doing it. But you also play as maybe it was Lestat or something like that. And as we cut to the modern day segment for the final scene, Armand and Louis are still fighting. Louis is absolutely pissed about the photos. thinking that Armand is trying to coddle him, and Armand is like, he's trying to be put up with it. He's trying to be a good boyfriend, but you can tell he's getting even his temper is starting to boil. And while the vampiric duo are fighting it out, Daniel is looking through all the information given him by Raglan James, and he finds an enhanced file of one of the final tapes of the original interview. And he can hear Armand's voice, he can hear all these other things that he couldn't hear before. Now that is cool, that's interesting, and we'll talk about it in the next episode, but I just gotta say, I love this episode, love it, love it, love it. I love the new takes on the story. I'm loving like I said, I love all the theater segments, but the opening with Claudia, everything with the theater and Claudia was just, I loved it. I love the development between Armand and Louis, and Armand basically becoming Louis' little bitch. that was fun. I really am interested in the backstory that Armand gives Louis, because I don't think it was this detailed in the first book. I know it's more detailed when he told Lestat his backstory in the second book, which just seems to take a little more inspiration from that scene in particular. I just really hope they don't make Marius a weird pimp. Please don't do that to Marius. Not Marius de Romanos. Also, I do notice a weird thing though. When Armand is talking to Louis in the museum, he's like, am I the job I not want to do? Am I not this and not that? I don't know, it gave me a lot of similar feelings to Louis' speech in the first season, where he's like, are we the sums of our worst parts? Like after Claudia killed Charlie. I don't know, just something, those scenes just kind of rhymed in my head for a reason. But yeah, this is a great episode. And if you want me here to talk about the fifth one, mumbling my words again, if you wanted to hear me talk about the fifth episode, well, just click on the next video. Bye bye.